Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 1122, 1122, Monday, May the 4th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so we're going to get to the some of the news the last 24 hours, and then we'll get right into naming the dumbass of the week. So the first thing I guess to talk about is Sunday morning, Maria Bartiromo's interview with Lindsey Graham. Man, oh man, that was pretty good because Bartiromo basically called him out. She read through all the dates of all the times that he's been on her show and all the claims he's made of all the people he's going to call to testify and do all these things. And you can tell he got a little bit ticked off at being called out by Maria Bartiromo. I don't expect to see Lindsey Graham back on that program anytime soon because she pretty well put it to him. And, of course, I found it interesting that his response was, hey, I'm not going to interfere in an ongoing investigation. In other words, I can't call these people in because I'm not going to interfere in an ongoing investigation. I don't know how Lindsey Graham calling these people in and questioning them has anything to do with John Durham's investigation. John Durham's going to investigate what he's going to investigate regardless. He's going to question witnesses and look at evidence regardless of what Lindsey Graham does. There's nothing Lindsey Graham is going to do. And if anything, it would help Durham's investigation. Because by bringing these people in and forcing them to testify publicly in a Senate hearing, they would essentially be under oath. And they would have to go on the record and make statements and give answers. And that would all be relevant to the Durham investigation. Because if they lie under oath in the Senate hearings, that would just be another charge against them. They might say something that contradicts something they've already told Durham. Or if they haven't been questioned by Durham, Lindsey Graham asking them under oath in a Senate hearing may force them to, if there's some people in the Senate Judiciary Committee that are good enough at questioning, and most of those people are lawyers, if they're good enough at questioning, they might actually extract some information out of these people that might be helpful to Durham in his investigation. So the idea that that holding hearings would somehow interfere with Durham's investigation is bullshit. It's BS. Here's why. First of all, we all know Lindsey Graham is all talk and no action. And I mean, I think the reason why, this is my feelings on it, I think the reason why Lindsey Graham doesn't want to bring people in and have them testify is because there's a lot of dirty players in the Senate who were involved in this, including his buddy, Senator Magoo, the late John McCain. And let's not forget that both McCain and Lindsey Graham were regulars over there in Ukraine, good buddies with Poroshenko and some other corrupt Ukrainian public officials. There's a lot of skeletons in the closet of many members of the Senate, and that's what Graham doesn't, I think that's why he doesn't really want to delve into this thing. Now, when he made all those claims that he was going to call all of those people in and have them testify in the Senate hearings, in the Judiciary Committee, Durham's investigation was already underway. So if Durham's investigation is underway and Lindsey Graham comes out and makes all these statements that he's going to bring all these people in for questioning, he knew that at the time. Why would he suddenly now say, well, I'm not going to do it until, or he didn't really say I'm not going to do it till Durham's done, but that's essentially what he's saying. He's saying he's not going to hold any hearings because he doesn't want to, interfere with the Durham investigation. Well, he knew that the Durham investigation was underway when he made the claim that he was going to come out and interview all these people. And again, I think it's a BS argument. I don't think it hurts the Durham investigation at all. I think it actually would help Durham's investigation to bring these people in and get them under oath and on the record. So none of this really holds up, and Maria Bartiromo knows this. She knows. And he's been pulling Hannity's chain now for about a year. Prior to the Kavanaugh thing, Graham and Hannity wouldn't even speak. It was only after Graham came out during the Kavanaugh hearings did Hannity suddenly start having a love affair with Graham. And so Graham's been pulling Hannity's chain now for a very long time. I never pay much attention to Lindsey Graham. I've been watching this guy for a long time. He's a fraud. Okay? He is a political animal. He'll go whichever way the winds blow. If it looks favorable to him to get behind Trump, that's what he'll do. I can assure you that if Trump suddenly did something that became unpopular with his base, Lindsey Graham would come out and stab Trump in the back in a minute. And Trump knows that. Everybody knows that about Lindsey Graham. Political animal. So, as far as these hearings are concerned, what Lindsey Graham is telling us is that he's not going to hold hearings until after Durham has finished his investigation. Well, by the time Durham finishes his investigation, a lot of these people are going to be in jail or facing indictments or something else. And at that point, they're not going to be talking at all because they'll have already lawyered up and their attorneys will be telling them, no, you don't want to go testify in front of any committees right now because you're facing a sentencing hearing or you're facing court trials or you're working on a plea deal or whatever. If there's any time when Graham absolutely will not find anyone to come and testify to his committee, because remember the term he used, he said, we're going to ask. Now, I've heard him interviewed several times, and he keeps using the word ask, and he emphasizes that word, ask, because he knows when he doesn't follow through, he's going to be asked about this, and he's going to be able to say, yes, well, if you remember what I said, go back and look at the video. I said, I will ask these people to come in and testify. I will ask them. No, you subpoena them. Believe me, if the Democrats were in control of the Senate and the situation was on the other foot, they will be subpoenaing everybody, regardless of other investigations that may be going on. So, Lindsey Graham is a fraud, but I think you all knew that. Let's move on. Yeah, a couple of days ago I said, these lockdowns, they're going to end when the American people decide they need to end. That's pretty much what it is. All these lockdowns and things that are going on, people are pretty much fed up with it now. It isn't nearly that bad here in Ohio. Our governor hasn't taken the hardline approach here or anything like that. In fact, this past Friday, May 1st, we begin the first step of our sort of rollback. But, I was out this weekend and I saw more traffic and more people out, more people in the stores, more people around, saw a few restaurants open that weren't open before. So things pretty much shifted quite a bit around here where I live, in southern Ohio, here this weekend. A lot different than the past month and a half or so. So people are already beginning to say, okay, we've had enough of this. We think the coast is clear. And so you're seeing this all over the country. You're seeing it in places where, especially where they have liberal governors who are really abusing their power. And you can see this in California, New York, Michigan, Maine, other places. So, the people are going to decide when they've had enough. And that's when the ban will be lifted, when people just flat out ignore it. We had Tom Perez on a Sunday morning program saying that this guy, he's horrible. I'm glad he's there. I'm glad we have a super incompetent idiot running the DNC. That's good news for us. But this argument that he made on Sunday morning regarding the Tara Reade situation with Biden and these documents that people are calling for Biden to produce, hoping to find somewhere in there the Tara Reade complaint. But you have Tom Perez on a Sunday morning show saying, yeah, well, just like the rotten Reverend Clinton's emails, the case is with the Biden documents that people were asking for, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Yeah, there was nothing there with the rotten Reverend Clinton emails. Nothing there because, actually, there was a lot there. There was a lot there, plenty enough to prosecute her. But the dishonorable director of the Federal Bureau of I'm with her, the Jimmy the Weasel Comey, cleaned that up for her. He cleaned that up for her. There was a lot there. But assuming you're taking a statement at face value that there was nothing there, it might have had something to do with the fact that she deleted at least 30,000 of those emails, and she had people, Cheryl Mills, running an operation down in the basement of the State Department, going through all the other emails, making sure they were good to go. So this is exactly what we've heard happen with Biden, is that as soon as these calls first came out for documents to be released, in fact, I've even heard that when he moved these documents over to this library, so-called library in Delaware, that at that time he actually had people go over there and go through all those records and make sure to, I guess, get rid of anything that could be, a problem. So, I mean, they've already done the, I don't know what you call this, not bleach bidding, but certainly removal of documents that could be detrimental to the political livelihoods of individuals like the Right Reverend Clinton, and in this case, Burisma Joe. So, yeah, that's what's going on there. It doesn't really matter the documents thing. There's 2 more witnesses have now come out, or 2 more accusers now, I think, have come out. Over the weekend, we had 1 more person backing Tara Reade come out. No name. The person's not giving their name. So an anonymous person has come out to back Tara Reade's story. And then we've apparently had 2 new accusers. I just saw that in the headline. I didn't even click on it to read on it. I just saw that in the headline. So this is not really going away. But I don't think this is going to be a deciding issue for Republicans to focus on. I would let this alone if it were me. I would focus on the Biden's issues with China. China is going to be a major issue in the 2020 election, and Biden is on the wrong side of that argument. Trump is on the right side of that argument, and I would be really talking a lot about that and, of course, his general corruption. I would let the Democrats fight over. I mean, the Bernie bros and the progressives are doing the job on Biden on Tara Reade, so I would stay off of that horse. I will let the other forces on the left take Biden apart on Tara Reade, although I don't believe it will change anything. And, of course, the Democrats have a huge problem with Biden. They know they need to get rid of him, but the problem they have is that if they get rid of Biden, then automatically the Bernie bros step up and say, okay, well, Bernie finished second in the primaries, therefore he should now be moved to the first spot. And that's what they're going to say. That's why they know they need to get rid of Biden, but they know that if they do and they don't replace him with Bernie, which they're not going to do, that is going to really piss off all the Bernie supporters. So they're stuck. They're almost stuck with Biden. But then again, you have the Right Reverend Clinton. She's going to be pushing really hard. She's got her surrogates out there again. This Peter Diode, he's out there again with another major hit piece on Biden yesterday. So there's a lot of forces trying to push Biden out, mainly working on behalf of the Right Reverend. But the problem is that the DNC has, as something that they realize, is if you push Biden out, the Bernie bros expect that Bernie will then move into the second slot. And of course, that's not what they want. They would want to put the Rotten Reverend in there. And that's what her people are pushing for. Now, the Rotten Reverend doesn't care if she stepped into that spot and then and ticked off all the Bernie bros. The Rotten Reverend doesn't care. I mean, she doesn't care about the Bernie bros. So that's the pickle they find themselves in. They need to get rid of Biden, but they really can't. They would like to put Hillary in there, but they really can't without sending the progressives into orbit over that decision. So it's a tough deal. But I would let the progressives work Biden over on the Tara Reade thing. I would focus on his general corruption, the fact that he was involved in the whole Spygate fiasco, and that'll all be unraveling before the election. So he's certainly going to be implicated there. And, of course, just China in general is going to be a major factor in the 2020 election. I would hit him on China and hit him hard every day. Rick Grinnell has ordered a review of all unmaskings across all 17 agencies. So what does that tell us? It tells us he's obviously been looking into these unmaskings. And he has required all 17 of the intelligence agencies to completely review their policies on unmasking, to put it into writing, and then he wants them to send that to him so that he can review it. Well, that tells us that Rick Grinnell has probably been analyzing a lot of these unmasked conversations, probably passing on what he has discovered to Durham. Exactly. And keep in mind, Grinnell is just holding down the fort until Ratcliffe can be confirmed. And the first hearing for Ratcliffe is tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be the first hearing for Ratcliffe. He will obviously be confirmed. If not, they would have told Trump that before they put him up for nomination. They count the votes before that. So he will be confirmed. It'll largely be a party line vote, but Ratcliffe will be confirmed. And Ratcliffe, you can bet, will move into that position that Grinnell is in. But hopefully they'll keep Grinnell somewhere in that mix because he has done a pretty good job over there. Again, as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, another major story, and this wasn't even by Peter Dowell. This was by, I think it was a New York Times op-ed editorial writers, basically writing a big op-ed to dump Biden over the Tara Reade allegations. So here you have the New York Times, and these are the big stories that they do with the whole editorial board contributes. And so they have a major New York Times op-ed on, I think it was Friday or Saturday, that makes the case why they should dump Biden over the Tara Reade allegations. So that's not good. And of course, the New York Times, you're talking, that's like the Rotten Reverend Clinton's newspaper. I mean, they work for her. So you can bet that someone is directing a lot of people who you would generally associate with the establishment, not even the Bernie bros, but I mean now the establishment, to go after Biden on this. So you're going to see a split here as well. So this issue with Tara Reade is going to further divide an already very divided Democratic Party. It's just what I see coming up in the next 6 months for the Democrats is absolute disaster, like jump out of windows disaster, like suicide type disasters. It's all coming for the Demo commies, and no one deserves it more. Sidney Powell says it was Joe Pientka who wrote the electronic communication that advised Strzok and the boys to close the case on Flynn. Sidney Powell says that EC advising Strzok and the rest to close the case on Flynn was written by Joe Pientka. Oh boy, how about that? In other words, one of their inside guys. Wasn't somebody just in a field off. It was Pientka who was part of the group telling them that. I've been looking at these at this deposition by Christopher Steele to Alfa Bank. Now, keep in mind, Alfa Bank is suing Christopher Steele, for defamation because they make allegations in the dossier that Alfa Bank is somehow coordinating with Trump and the Russian government and, interference in the election, the whole 9 yards. So Alfa Bank gets put into the dossier, and I believe the name of one of the three owners actually was put into the dossier. So Alfa Bank is suing Steele. Now, the reason they're suing Steele is because at this time, Steele, the dossier is called the Steele dossier, and it would be assumed that he's the one that created that information. So that is why Alfa Bank sued Steele, because they want to find, Alfa Bank is looking to sue the person who created the lie about them and the person who put it into the dossier, and also the people or persons or people who spread the dossier. Now, we know who spread the dossier, published it. It was BuzzFeed. Now, Alfa Bank is likely not going to sue BuzzFeed because Mr. Gubarev already did, and he lost that case. Mainly because the judge said, well, they were, it was a news story. It was a news story, so that's basically was the ruling there. So Alfa Bank knows that they're not going to be able to go after BuzzFeed because the judge has already ruled on that case, so they're not going to win as far as whether or not they were okay in publishing it. That's already been, the judge said that was fine to do. But Alfa Bank wants to find out who originated the lie against them, and then who propagated it. And of course, because Steele is generally believed to be the person who wrote the dossier, or authored the dossier, passed the dossier around, that's why they focused on Steele. But when you read a couple of the questions that they ask him, where they drill down to try to find out who actually was, I think that you might actually see, after this deposition, you might actually see Alfa Bank not push on Steele anymore, They might just look at what they have. They might just walk away from Steele and let him off the hook. He's really given them what they wanted, which is to know where this information came from and who was spreading it around. And at this point, they're realizing that Steele wasn't the source of the story, and he wasn't the one who was pushing the story. And now that he's told them who was, I'm thinking there's a very good chance that Alfa Bank will beg off of Steele and now go after the real person who originated this and spread it. And who is that? Michael Sussman, Hillary's lawyer. So I would not be surprised to see sometime, maybe in the next week or two, to find out that Alfa Bank has withdrawn their civil case against Steele and is now moving and serving legal papers on Michael Sussman, because Steele says in his deposition it was Sussman who told him that the Alfa Bank was communicating with the server at Trump Tower. So I think there's a good chance that Steele has just gotten himself off the hook by giving up Michael Sussman. But he didn't just give up Sussman, he also gave up the Rotten Reverend Clinton. Because remember, Sussman is doing this in the interest of the Rotten Reverend Clinton, and she is the one who actually owns the dossier. She paid for it. She's the proprietor. She owns the dossier, which means she has control over what happens to that dossier. And she was obviously making sure it was being spread around everywhere. So here's that little Q&A that happened between the lawyer and Steele when they're asking about where this information came from and how he acquired it. And Steele says, quote, I believed it was the campaign, yes. And then the lawyer says, the leadership of the campaign? And Steele says, fine, the leadership of the campaign. He's talking about the Hillary Clinton campaign. Then the lawyer says, you also understood that the Rotten Reverend Clinton herself was aware of what you were doing. Steele says, yeah, I think Glenn had mentioned it, talking about Glenn Simpson, but I wasn't sure. So in his deposition, essentially Steele throws the Rotten Reverend Clinton under the bus. She throws Sussman under the bus, Hillary's lawyer, and also he throws Talbot, Susan Rice, and Newland and John Weiner under the bus when he tells the lawyer that it was those four who were the ones who were behind setting up this meeting with the State Department person, Kathleen Kvalik. So Steele is throwing people under the bus right and left here, and I think that that's why we are definitely going to see Alfa Bank, because they really want to get to the person who made up the lie about them and the people who are behind pushing it. And as you can see here, as the lawyers uncover, and as we have suspected for a long time, Steele was just the messenger boy. He wasn't authoring any of this stuff. He was just the guy sitting there waiting for the phone call or the email for someone to give him some more of the garbage so he could put it into the dossier. But it was all coming from somewhere else. It was just his job to do a copy and paste job on a document and then pass it back over to Glenn Simpson or to the FBI or to Steele, or to the State Department or wherever. His job is to go out and sell it and be the face of it, not to author it, create it, or research it or anything else. And this is what comes out in this deposition. So he absolutely identifies Sussman as being the one who originated the claim, and so that's why I think Alfa Bank is going to be serving legal papers on Sussman and the Rotten Reverend Clinton and walking away from Christopher Steele. They got what they needed out of him, which is they want to know where it came from. They got that. It wasn't him. I think they'll move on. Now, let's go ahead and get to the dumbass of the week. Birdwell is going to go for the governors who are falling for Fauci and the Scarf Lady's bullshit. That's my wording, not his. Also, the Me Too movement and Jill Biden. Zara Drew is going to go with the seventh floor weasels, along with the Rotten Reverend Clinton's demonic minions. Sigma 61. That's the only way I can. I can't pronounce your name, my friend. I don't know how you pronounce that, so I'm just going to use Sigma 61. I hope you don't mind. Going with the lamestream media. Net is going to go with No Shit Sherlock Ray. Michael is going to go with the Biden team. Susan Lowell will go with Chrissy Steele. Rotax. Rotax is going to go with his ex-wife. She buys the mainstream media claptrap. I gotta say, I've been doing Dumbass of the Week now for quite some time. I believe this is the first time a spouse, an ex-spouse, has been nominated for Dumbass of the Week. But something tells me there'll be a lot more now. I think you just opened up the door there, Botax. But yes, Botax's ex-wife for buying the mainstream media claptrap. Probably good that she's her ex-wife. Let's see. J.C. Hasty is going to go with the mainstream media in regards to how they're covering the Flynn case. It's deplorable, you might say, along with the Seventh Floor Weasels. Joe Mack is going to go with the Dems who hate America. Yep. Jenny Tweets will go with Sleepy Joe and Pelosi galore. Cards is going to go with the rotten Reverend Clinton. Sane Environmentalist will go with the mainstream media for their fear-mongering on coronavirus. Oregon Outback is going to go with the citizens for letting things get so bad. Yeah, in a way, I guess you could say we deserve it. At first, I don't know. At first, I think we had to kind of pay attention to it, but now we've had enough time to observe that there's a lot of problems with this whole scam. And now I think it is time just to tell them to shove it, and let's just all get back to life as normal and give them the middle finger, I guess you'd say. Mike G is going to go with the Me Too Senate Democrats who persecuted Kavanaugh but are letting completely flip-flopping on their position now. Yes, you're absolutely right, Mike, but this is what we expect over here in the States from the senators, Democrat senators, and believe me, the Republican senators here aren't much better. Scott Johnson's going to go with Biden and Madam Botox. Peter James is going to go with Biden, Madam Botox, No Shit Sherlock Ray, and Governor Inslee. Yes, that's right. Peter is under the, unfortunately, out there with Governor Inslee. I do feel for you, my friend. Larry Lyons will go with McCabe, Yates, and Comey. Boy, there's a solid three right there, boy. That's three people right there that absolutely better have some good criminal defense attorneys. Jeanette Bateman, Whitmer. Yeah, Governor Whitmer. I do believe Jeanette's from Michigan, if I remember correctly. So she would know that. Whitmer, Sleepy Joe Biden, and Madam Botox. Hey is going to go with Jay Inslee. He must also be out there in Peter country. Jonathan Cassidy will go with Trudeau, yes, who's banning all the guns, including shotguns, in Canada. Dr. Fauci, and the mainstream media. Alan Williams is going to go with our good friend Dick Comey, K-O-M-I, Comey. Gene Alley is going to go with the CDC, the Nemo-Commie governors, and Chris Wallace. Yeah, Chris Wallace come out. What's everybody getting so upset about? Mike Flynn lied. You dumbass. I mean, Chris Ratboy Wallace is absolutely the worst. He really is. That Fox says. I think he's about the worst one over there at Fox. Gregory Woolery is going to go with Brandon Van Grack, the dishonorable James Comey, Lindsey Graham, and Bill de Blasio. Stage Door Johnny will go with Biden, Governor Whitmer, and the TikTok nurses. The TikTok nurses. Rocky's going to go with Madam Botox and the Minnesota Atheists. Yeah, you enjoying those prayer calls, the Ramadan prayer calls at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 times a day? Get your prayer rugs and head to Minnesota. Boy, oh boy. Lori Holt is going to go with Burisma Joe, Madam Botox, and Bill Priestap. Zero Drew will go with anyone wearing a mask that should not be. Pretty much. Which is most of us. TW Wintex will go with Lindsey Graham. It's Angry Bob is going to go with Dick Coney, K-O-N-I. Doesn't know what rape is. Tiana is going to go with the mayors and governors regarding their power grabs, along with the police for following these unconstitutional mandates. Good to hear from you, Tiana. You've been gone a while. I'm glad you're back. And pointing out the obvious. Freddie Schaffer is going to go with Dick Comey, Joe Biden, Dai Phi Chai Spy Feinstein, and Pelosi for endorsing Biden. Well done. Joey D will go with Comey, K-O-M-I, Comey. JV is going to go with mainstream media, Dr. Fauci, and the Me Too frauds. That they are. Lucy Mum Van Peltmum is going to go with Biden. Fighting Fantasy Game Books will go with Biden. Mara J, the lovely and talented Mara, is going to go with the mainstream media, Bill Priestep, and Biden's denials regarding Tara Reade. Meredith Mueller, I'm not sure which of the three, but I've got to be close. We'll go with the Me Too movement, but only if you're a Republican, along with Janet Mills, who I believe is the governor of Maine, and Michelle Mybelle Obama. Youngblood will go with Dr. Fauci. Douglas, okay, I know you guys are waiting for a cruise ship reference. Not this week. Not this week from Douglas. He's back. He's back to sanity, and it appears that it's Tara Reade, the committee drafting Michelle Obama, and Marsha Blackburn. Alrighty, Douglas. Alrighty, Sherman Lynn, the governors for pushing for extended lockdowns. Yep, and they're going to pay a price for it, too. They're going to pay a price for it. I'm not sure how often mayors are elected for. Governors typically, 4 years or 6? I can't remember, but yeah, these people are all going to pay in their next elections. I can assure you of that. Whitmer especially. And I don't know, the Inslee, pretty left out there, but Michigan, there's a lot of pushback there. So, yeah. Anyway, Scott Johnson is going to go with Biden and Madam Botox. And China News Asia will go with Jeff Sessions and this WWE fighter, Dave Batista. Apparently made some anti-Trump comments. That's not good, especially in the WWE. Trump's got a lot of fans in the WWE. Alrighty, so we tallied them up. And it looks like we have all alone in first place, winning this week's Dumbass of the Week, Burisma Joe Biden. Joe Biden is our number one Dumbass of the Week, followed fairly closely by Pelosi Galore. She had a banner week. She surely did. But we have a three-way tie for third place. In third place, we have tying the three following groups. The Me Too movement, Dick Comey, K-O-M-I, who gave us a class on the vagina earlier in the week that didn't really pass muster. And, of course, the governors/mayors who are imposing the tyranny on the folks. So there we go. Biden, Dumbass of the Week. Pelosi, number 2, and a three-way tie for third place between Me Too, Dick Comey, and the governors and mayors imposing tyranny. There you go. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, and I expect a lot more document dumps this week in the Flynn case. And speaking of document dumps, I mean, here's something to think about. We've only seen a small percentage. We've seen the tip of the iceberg of total documents that are there. But think about the things that we have seen. Think about this. Every single one of these setups and frame-ups that occurred with Papadopoulos, Carter Page, Flynn, all of this stuff, there were discussions. There were discussions and meetings on all of this stuff before they did it. And we haven't seen any of that stuff. Any of it. And there are literally 20,000 pages of struck page text we've never seen. There are Comey communications we've never seen. Brennan communications we've never seen. Clapper communications we've never seen. Obama we've never seen. We've seen a tiny little amount of everything that's potentially damaging in terms of documents, emails, text, and things like that. We can assume that Durham is looking at a lot of this stuff, but there is much, much, much more to come. Keep posted. See ya. Bye.